Welcome into the Dynasty Deal Show. I'm Ty at Ty Declare 44. I am joined by Scott at Charles Chill FFB and Shane at Shane Says FF on X. Yes, we got the bobbleheads for the people, and we got the Dynasty Deal Show coming at you live Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Make sure you tune in. If you can't be here live, these streams go up early on Friday, so you can get your trades in early. We'll get to as many as we can hit in the hour. Make sure you're signed up for the Trades and Chill tier, $3.99 a month. Join as a member. You get access to emojis. You get early access to videos like Trinity Mondays. You get Destination Chill. Of course, you get the Dynasty Deal Show. And yeah, you get to have a little face beside your name, a little green thing. Nothing wrong with that. And gentlemen, at this point, I got one rule. If you hear this noise, we're wrapping it up. We're moving on to the next one. We're on our time management. But guys, it is time for reality to strike back. And we don't got no Wookiees. I can make a Wookiee noise, but I don't want to blow it anyone's ears here. But
I thought there would be some sounders like a something like that.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'll work up that stuff.
Like, but halfway through this show, Scott
shout out on the thumbnail too. I like the thumbnail.
Yes.
With,
yes.
The Death Star and the lightsaber. Shout out to dope. Jeff for the thumbnail. Good stuff.
Yeah, bigger and better things, but he definitely cooked with this one. And speaking of people who cooked, are Ahoff. He's always first in the stream here, it seems, and he brings us a 12-team Superflex, start 10, 3 wide receivers. It's a PPR and a 0.5 tight end premium league. His team is Mahomes, Herbert, Jones, and Dart. He's got Henderson, Monty, Javonte, Ramondre, Puka, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Metcalf, Mike Evans, Khalil Shakir, Hunter, and he's got Ferguson at tight end. No 26 picks. He has all of his 27 picks. He's 3-0 with the most points scored, but he lost Connor and Evans this past week. So he's asking, do we move Travis Hunter and Jackson Dart for Breece Hall and Chris Olave? The other owner is punting this season. So Scott, I know you mentioned on a show, I forget which one, that you were interested in getting into some Olave. What's the speculative price to get in there? And on this team, Breece and Olave for Hunter and Dart.
Let me first give Ahoff credit for the very beautiful submission. I mean, he followed the formatting perfectly with the part 1 and the part 2, easy to read, nice spacing between all of the players. I mean, this is the poster child for submitting a question. So thank you for that. So obviously the team struggling for skill player starters, right? Already lost Evans and Connor. I mean, those are guys that if I had those guys going into the season, like you kind of expected them to go away at some point in their careers. You know what I mean? So they felt like if I can get 8 weeks out of them, which you didn't even get half of that, but if I can get half the season out of them being starters in my start 10, like I'm good. So they're gone earlier than expected. And obviously Daniel Jones is a hit at quarterback. You already had Herbert, Mahomes, and now Jackson Dart's coming in. So as you've lost stuff, you've now matured into probably one of the biggest rising quarterbacks in popularity in Dart, and then 3 top 10 quarterbacks to boot on top of Dart. So I do think we need to move a quarterback. Do I love this deal? Feels like you're selling Dart because you want to make this move today. You need starters today. Go through the lineup here, Shane. Let's see. I could jam in Monty and Javonte Williams. I could jam in Puka, Amon-Ra, DK. Jake Ferguson without Lamb is probably a top 5 tight end. And then I'm having to pick between Shakir, Travion Henderson, Ramondre. Like, I'm not doing the deal. I hold the cards. Daniel Jones can go into a pumpkin at any time. Any quarterback could get injured, but I have 4 quarterbacks that are probably more in demand than most at this point. I have 4 of the top 12 to 15 quarterbacks in terms of demand. And I don't need Olave and Breece Hall right now. I wait out this manager another couple weeks, and you know what? Maybe Olave and Breece Hall are A, not healthy, B, not producing, and I don't have to pay this price. So I'm holding because my lineup looks good for week 4. Is that short-sighted dynasty playing, Shane?
Trading Jackson Dart and who's the other guy?
Travis Hunter. No, is it short-sighted to say I'm not doing the deal because I don't need to do the deal of this week?
No. Short-sighted would be the opposite. Short-sighted would be I'm doing this deal because I have to win this week. I have to get to 4-0. Like you're 3-0.
Yep.
To Scott's point, you can put many other, and it's not like you're putting trash bags in there. Like you're putting legitimate guys that you can start in there. If I'm moving Dart and Hunter, It's not for Brees and Olave, and I love Olave. I want as much Olave as I can get. Check out Shane says on Patreon. Talked about why, but I'm trying to move those two most likely for one player because this is 12 by 10, right? I zoned out in the beginning, but I assumed it was a 12 by 10. It wasn't 12 by 11 or 12 by 12. Then I'm trying to get like 2 or 3, but like in a setup like this, considering the roster you already have, what can I get for those two combined? Like, that's what I'm trying to do. Voltron it. I'm not trying to do this type of deal.
And you're selling low on Hunter, right,
Yeah.
Ty? If I could add a second, I would move Dart for both. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it feels like you're giving the assets you don't need right now. The other person is getting a steal if they're trying to reboot. So I would probably be a little arrogant and just not do it. But can I add a second and get a 2 for 1? I would do that.
Yeah. I mean, even look at the team, right? You got Henderson, Monty, Javonte, and Ramondre. You really don't feel great there. I'm curious, like, Scott, would you even do just Dart for Brees straight up?
No. I'm looking for the deal that I have to do today because it's too good for me to turn down, which is not a 1 for 1. None of these players that I'm getting back, I'm guessing this is probably the 2 assets on the team that I'm trading with that I want. Maybe they have someone better, but if they have somebody better, like Shane said, can I do a 2 for 1? Here, I'll give you Hunter and I'll give you Jackson Dart, but you give me somebody that I can definitely slot into the top part of my lineup. But this deal, it feels like I'm just settling because I bet you this manager is like, hey, I'm interested in Dart. Here's what I have to offer. I have these 2 guys. They have no other leverage. You know what I mean? They don't have anything else you want, and they probably are a little queasy trying to get off of Brees and Olave. Like, those guys are good, but they're not players that, like, a team that wants to retool is worried that, oh man, they could have a couple bad weeks or get injured, and then now they're nothing I can move again. So maybe they're in a little hurry to move. So I'd push them back a little bit, see if I can do it with just a little bit plus Dart.
Yeah. I don't mind that. It just feels like it's probably not the best time to sell your Hunter. I don't mind the idea of getting off Dart before we see it in action on the New York Giants offense, and then, you know, some of that shine wears off, right? So I'm okay trying to get that move, but I agree, Scott. I just don't think it's a deal that I need to do today. You can probably fix any kind of holes that you're trying to fix there with a Connor and an Evans, you know, in a cheaper fashion without having to move that stuff. I'd rather hold those things for a little bit longer, you know, find a better deal down the road. But Hoff, we're going to see you next week. So bring us another idea there, big dog, and good luck this week. All right, guys, we got some people in the house. We got Sean in the house. We got Big Diaz. We got Squid. You know, we got that super chat. We got Adam Walker bring us a $4.99 super chat here. So he says 12 team super flex PPR start 10. We got Caleb. We got Fields, Monty, Cans, DK, Sutton, Pittman, Shakir, Myers. We got Bowers. Somehow 2-1, but this is a fraud. What's the best way to move forward to remove points? So Shane, I'm sure you have at least one team where it's outperformed your expectations, and maybe your plan at this jump was to try to, you know, just kick this year, accrue some value, and move on. What are you doing on those kind of teams where you started out 2-1? You're trying to get some points off the team to streamline it for 2026.
So the only problem is how low can you even get? I forget who it was. Someone in the chat brought out a team like not like this, but you know, they talked about how they're 3-0, and they should probably be selling because they're a fraud. But then you look at it and you're like, well, what's the best you can get? How low can you get? If you really want to get low, you sell Caleb, because then you have, I'm assuming, no other quarterbacks, just because you have Fields as your QB too. But do you want to move Caleb? Like, that's, I'm going to say this after his week 1, but that's someone that you could be a foundational piece, right? Like, if he's the Caleb we saw the last 2 weeks, he's like a foundational building block on your roster that you don't want to move. So it's all about like, well, can I move Pittman, Sutton, Shakir, Myers? Like, these are all the dirty, cheap points. DK's in there too, that aren't going to be long-term building blocks, or players that you could get at any time, some version of that player when you want to compete. And they're not going to help you right now. The problem is if you want to do that, you're going to have to take the L on some of them, right? Like, you don't want to trade DK and Pittman for seconds, but that's probably the best types of offers you're going to get. So you have to settle up and go, all right, well, am I willing to take that? I'm in a league where I put players on the block today for thirds and fourths, and no one bit, so I had to cut them. Different reasoning, just because I had too many players over the roster and I wouldn't be able to set my lineup. But either way, but same thing. Like you just kind of have to accept like this is the best I'm going to do, and is that okay? Like, are you okay if you could get 2 seconds for Sutton? You're probably over the moon. I know what you want to do. You want to put DK and Sutton together and go give me a first, but that might not be plausible. That might not be feasible. So really, what are you willing to accept? Someone like Shakir, you probably feel like I should get seconds for. I don't know if you'll get a second for Shakir. So again, are you willing to take thirds for Shakir? Are you willing to take a wide receiver? I'm just trying to think. Can you get Jalen Coker, although he's coming back next week, and a third for Shakir, something like that. I don't know. That's probably where I'm turning to.
Scott, any ideas hit you on this team? Trying to get some points off the team to move forward?
Well, Shane really hit on a good point about some of these players. They are already destination players, meaning like they're as good as what they're producing right now. So your league should tell you if there's interest in Cortland Sutton, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, Khalil Shakir, Jacoby Myers. All of those guys have had at least one really good game. Same with David Montgomery. So you could say like all of them thus far have been productive, right? So the problem is, and I've been in this position, Shane's been in this position, your goal is to get rid of some of them. Your fear is that if all I get is a second for Cortland Sutton, I'm not going to be able to find another Cortland Sutton next year when I build my team back up. You're thinking, man, the hit rate on 2/3 is so low. How am I ever going to replace Jacoby Myers? And it's like, well, the goal isn't to replace Jacoby Myers with what you're getting back. It's to move your team in an extreme direction and then have enough assets to spread the wealth around, take chances at different times with something that's more flexible. First thing I would do is I'd remove all points on your team that have no value. So like this is the time where you literally go through them. Do you have Miles Sanders on your team? I'm cutting him. Do you have Amari DiMercato on your team? Like if I can't get a fourth, I'm cutting him. There's no purpose in me holding him if the league has already spoken. Then you start going, okay, how many of these guys next year, when I go to look at my team in May, am I comfortable penciling in my lineup? And I can tell you all 5 of those receivers, I don't want 5 of those guys next year. 2 of them are going to be players where you go, I'm not sure if that guy's startable. Maybe more. And all of these guys historically are decent players too. But the odds that they all survive another year in the same situation or better than they are right now is extremely low. So cash out on a few, maybe cold the ones. I bet you can sell a couple of these guys, maybe not all 5. And then you don't have to move Caleb. You don't have to move Brock Bowers. Their points are not going to push you over the top. So, and then backup strategy. I think I'm up to, in a 30-man roster league, I'm up to 20 quarterbacks in a league. I cut anybody useful. I pick up any quarterback, even third stringers, Max Brosmer, Riley Leonard. It doesn't matter because I don't want points, but there's at least a slim path that somebody else might need those guys. And that's how you tank. And you should be able to get pretty far to the bottom, even with Caleb, Bowers, Fields. I mean, Fields is a guy, he's gone as soon as he comes back because the floor has only dropped out of him how many times in his career? Like 7 already. So there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Tanking, I always like to pick up those backup quarterbacks, guaranteed zeros, and I know the plan as soon as the opportunity comes, right? Don't be stingy, move it forward, accrue some of that value, and best of luck in 2026. Thanks for the super chat there, Adam. We appreciate it. Speaking of super chats, got our guy Daniel T bringing us a $10 super chat. Thank you. It's an inbox offer here. The team that won last year, gun to take down the pot this year. You can go back to back. Knocked on every door for a top 15 wide receiver. So he's asking here, give McLaurin his 26 first and second for JT Sanders and JT to get Ladd in a third. So Ladd in a third for JT Sanders, McLaurin, a first and a second. Scott, we'll stick with you here. We've knocked everywhere. We can't get a top 15 wide receiver. Even at McLaurin, your first and second, and JT Sanders to get Ladd in a third. I don't see a tight end premium here. Let's call it 0.5, 12 by 10.
I mean, if I'm chasing a receiver that I cannot get in the top 10, like Ladd is probably one of the best candidates of all the rest, given the offense that he's in. I see the fear. I mean, you know what? If you pay this price, this is your bullet that you have to fire this year. If Terry comes back, like there's a possibility Terry comes back and he's as good as Ladd. And you're going, why did I give up those picks? But Terry's down right now. His quarterback is down right now. You're probably not feeling good about this mysterious core injury that he has, where it's like he might need surgery, but he might have played this week, but then he's not. And it's like, this could be the kind of thing where all of a sudden he's on IR and then he is a 30-year-old receiver and people will they're done with him. Even if he comes back to help you, you're not going to be able to move him for anything close to this value. So if this is what you want to do, Shane, it's a gamble because Ladd isn't necessarily producing like this price warrants, but you are moving off something that definitely might not hold any trade cachet the rest of the year.
Yeah, if I'm gonna buy a guy,
Shane,
that's
let me add a little extra.
Oh, okay.
Let me add a little extra here for you, Shane. So we got 12 teams, start 10. It's a 28-man roster, Superflex PPR lineup, 6-4 for quarterback. It's a 2 PPR for tight end. Okay. Hurts, Love, Lawrence, Penix, JT, Bijan, Gibbs, Achane, Bowers, Hawk, Juwan, London, Addison, Waddle, McLaurin, Burden, and Ayuk. So sorry, back to you here.
I'm not doing it either. If I'm buying a guy that's not producing and I'm not really getting that much of a discount, I'm probably going for the guy that's not producing that I think has a higher ceiling. Now, maybe you think it's Ladd. I don't know. You as the general you. I personally think it's someone like BTJ. So that's who I'd be targeting. And if I can't get someone like that, well, then I'll hold because Ladd's ceiling. I like Ladd. So I don't want it to sound like this, but like, what is Ladd's ceiling? Like, is there a top 12 wide receiver? Is there a top 8 wide receiver season in him? Is there a top 6 wide receiver season in him? I don't believe so.
Would you do AJ Brown?
But can I get AJ Brown for first in McLaurin and a second in JT Sanders? I
mean, just same deal. Take out Ladd. Would you do AJ Brown?
I'd probably ask for a little bit back. I am giving up a lot. I would absolutely smash for Nico. I had to be convinced not to overpay for Nico in a heavy PPC league last night. Thank God for the chat. Because I just wanted one person to say yes and no one would. Thanks, Scott A. Anyway, yeah, I'd absolutely smash Nico for a deal like that. But look, could I get AJ cheaper than that? Could I just give him McLaurin and a first for AJ Brown? Like I would try
Drake
that.
London, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of options here. I think the thing is, this is a deal where as soon as you commit to any of the names, Ty, that's your shot. If it doesn't work out, like you can blame the player, but you have one chance, right? You have one chance to probably upgrade, and maybe it's just this manager that's willing to do it. I can see a lot of people going like, yeah, Terry McLaurin doesn't count in the deal. I don't really want him. I'd rather get something different. So the fact that they'll take JT Sanders and Terry McLaurin and count as like 40% of the price, that might be the edge right there alone.
Yeah. I think of that 2-point PPR for tight ends. Like I don't mind using guys like JT Sanders who I can get increased value for in a deal if I can just tack them on, especially if my team is loaded like yours is, Daniel. Yeah, just I'll tell you what, we were talking a couple weeks ago. Some people barely wanted to send a first for AJ Brown, period, let alone McLaurin a second and JT Sanders. So I think the point is there's a wide range of wide receiver names that you could choose and slot in here. You got to know for you what's going to move your team forward and what's worth the price. I'd lean with Shane. I'd probably aim a little higher. Let me try to get that Nico Collins, somewhere in there. Oh, what else can I add to get Puka? Right? I know you've already knocked on that door. What else can I add to get up there? Right. But I'll tell you what, Daniel, yeah, you got a decent team. Like, again, you're not losing at tight end, so I don't mind sending away that JT Sanders. He was a block in your lineup anyways. JT, Bijan, Gibbs, Achane. You're just looking for a way to get that other hammer wide receiver. So I don't mind the idea. I would just probably aim higher than Ladd right now. Cool. Anything else in this one, Scott?
No, I mean, I guess I almost didn't take into account what the quarterback market is too, because we do have something we can fire at quarterback if we wanted. So, I mean, if you're confident you can turn Penix, you probably have to do Jordan Love. But if you could turn like Jordan Love into a first plus and live with the other two, then I could see where this could work too. It's just moving some flexibility around now and trying to get it back later. So I warm up to it now that I see if the league could allow you to do that.
There we go. Let me shop it again. Good advice. Yep. Hey, I think that's probably a bit of a theme right now is, when reality hits, like we do want to react to it, but sometimes you don't have to take the deal today. right? And that deal might be there tomorrow, and you may be the only person in your league that can actually pay that price for that guy. So don't always got to be in a hurry in Dynasty. But we appreciate the super chat there, Dan. Hope you have a great night. Let's move on to John Diamato. 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, PPR. It's a 0.5 tight end premium. We got Hurts, May, Gibbs, Kamara, and Cans. We got CD Lamb, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, Hunter, and Juwan Jennings. Ayuk, that's 0 for the year so far. Njoku, Ertz. Are we trading T. Higgins in a 4th for Debo and a 2nd? John, yes, I think I am personally. Give me Debo in the 2nd. Shane, what are you doing here in this 12 by 10 Superflex PPR league?
Yes, please. Well, let me think this through. Let me think a little. I want to make sure I offer something here. Hurts, making Devontae. I've never been a T guy, right? And how's T done with Jake Browning in the past? I'm gonna give them a mulligan off of last week, right? I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it. You're never getting a first. You're probably not getting a first for T at any point. I don't think. The only problem is Debo. You're definitely never getting a first for. You know what? I keep going back and forth, right? But I don't have to hit accept. This is what I do. I'm going to hold on to T because I'm just looking at the players that could actually increase in value, and T. Higgins could, whereas I don't think Debo ever could, or at least the leap from T to get to a first round draft pick versus what Debo would need to do is smaller leap.
I'm just trying to count here, Scott. So we got Gibbs, Kamara, CD, Devontae, Keenan Allen, one of the tight ends. We still have there's room in the lineup here to make sense, whether that be Higgins or Debo. I really don't mind getting the 2nd here, but I also, if you're convicted on T, like I mean, Shane, you said like I don't know if I'll get it. Anyone will pay a first. That feels like a bit of a change from where the temperature was on T. So I'm curious, Scott, like where are you at with T. Higgins? And here, what are you doing here? Are you doing Higgins in a 4th or Debo in a 2nd?
So I think it's weird that we use the terms like increase in value or decrease in value because T is what he is. He's a good receiver that was in a great situation. And when the great situation temporarily goes away, it's not that he's not worth a first. Like a 26-year-old receiver that's been good in that situation is going to be worth a first again. It's just, can you realize the first? So it's the demand that lacks right now, right? Nobody's going after him. If he was wide receiver 14 and everything was kosher, then you would go, oh, I'll pay a first for T because he can help me the rest of the way. So he's more of just a temporary liquidation piece. And if this is the best you can get and you want mercenary production for Debo, you're going to be left holding the bag on Debo. He's going to fall into that same range of the last trade we had. Jacoby Myers, Cortland Sutton. Like, hopefully he produces again in 2026 and 2027, and eventually he's not going to be, and that's going to be probably on your roster. What can you do with the 2nd? If I can fill in another hole with the 2nd later on, then I'm turning T. Higgins into 2 shots to help me now, but the odds of turning anything I get into something different later is gone. That's the only reason you have T, right? Like if you're holding him, you do not want to play him every week, right? You're sitting there going, man, hopefully he gets 10 points. But then you're like, when he comes back, when is that going to be? And if he doesn't come back or Burrow doesn't come back till the off season, is anyone going to want to move a first in April for a receiver that's not sexy? Probably not. So there's a time cost of having to hold T. He will get bounced back if his situation returns. There's a cost of having to hold him until next September when you can realize that price again. So I'm fine doing it for that reason. It's admitting that now he is not really an asset anymore. Is he in the lineup? The answer is no. He's not a young receiver anymore. He's something that I have to convert to some other sort of capital. So go for it.
Yeah. The more that I play, the more I'm trying to play with some patience, know that not only will windows come for guys, but also I can always get back in on someone when the temperature changes or when I want to. So it's not like this is the only chance I'll ever have. But someone like a Debo, this might be your only chance to actually move him in a deal and get credit for him. So
Ty, how often do we actually want to get back in on a T. Higgins? If his price goes back up to a first, are we, the way we play, are we ever going, man, I need right back in? You know what I mean? Like it's rare that we don't play with such player conviction that it's like, I have to get right back in. It's rare. So,
Right.
yeah, just kind
Right.
of
the demand will go up and be like, well, I don't want to pay the price now.
right. Just
So
let
it's-
it
we'll
go.
just chase our tail.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and hit accept.
Yeah. Well, here, Scott, I'll stick with you and we'll stick with John here. So 12 teams, start 10, Superflex, PPR, 0.5, tight end premium. You got Baker, Fields, Dart. You got Hampton, Judkins, Javante. You got Puka, Neighbors, Tet, Ladd, Olave, Godwin, Loveland, and Juwan. Trade Ladd in a second for Achan. The team is currently 3-0, second in points for. Shane saying yes. I'll say yes. Scott, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I think the way your roster's built between Puka, Neighbors, and Tet, like you have enough insulation at receiver that, and then Olave. So, I mean, right now you could argue Olave. What is Ladd doing any better than Olave? Nothing. So, I think you have enough insulation at receiver that you can do the deal. If you also said, hey, I don't need to do this deal right now. I'm going to just go with Hampton, Judkins, and Javante and then re-explore the deal in a couple weeks. You could do that too. It's a fair deal. I could also say I don't need to make it because you're 3-0. You have a nice team. What's the rush? But Achan could be a league winner. And this might allow you to, you know what I would do, Shane, if I could get this deal? Can I sell Javante Williams for a second or a second and a third? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Liquidate Javante because now he's probably relegated to my bench because I'm going to be starting Hampton, Achan, Judkins. Godwin might be startable. I mean, I can move Javante at the, he's an expiring asset if anything happens. You know what I mean? He gets a stub toe. People are like, I'm done with him. You know what I mean? So I try to move Javante. Then it offsets that second you gave off of Ladd, and I love the deal then.
Yep. I mean, Shane, I feel like, again, like this is a great example. Like Ladd's a great example of there's only so many players in Dynasty who truly have insulated, sustained value and are market movers. And those are the guys at the very top. And it doesn't take a lot for that to change on some of these guys like a Ladd. You told me this before the season. It's Ladd in a second. I'm still cool with that. But on a team like this, get me into Achan. I'll eat that price of Ladd in a second. This team, you could make multiple moves to get that flexibility back on a team like this. But I feel like it's hard to know when to actually make a move like that. Like, do you have any kind of rules that you use on teams like this of when to make a move for like an Achan?
Yeah, anytime someone's going to give me Achan for Ladd McConkey in a second, I'm an automatic press the yes button. So anytime that happens, yeah. Just about anytime you offer me any, again, I don't want to feel like I'm talking bad about Ladd because Ladd's he's a very good player. But if you give me a back end wide receiver back end, I'm probably taking the chain over him every day of the week because one of them
could have just cut that, Shane. Anytime someone giving me Achan, cut. Shane is taking it.
Yeah. I mean, it's generally true. It is generally true, but because one of those dudes has the ability to put up a 40-point week, and it's a chain. In case you're wondering, it's not Ladd McConkey. And I don't want to sound like Ladd. Ladd McConkey is fine as my wide receiver 2. If I have Ladd McConkey as my wide receiver 2 or 3, I'm absolutely probably very happy, except for this year because he hasn't produced like either. So I wouldn't be happy at all, come to think of it. But anytime I'm stacked at wide receiver like this, like Puka, Neighbors, Tet, Ladd, Olave, I can slide Olave right into that Ladd spot, right? Scott's point. I can slide Godwin right into that Olave spot, right? Anytime I have monster wide receivers right there, and then my running backs are, they're good. Hampton and Judkins are very good. But I can get a needle mover at running back. This is when I'll buy a running back using a wide receiver. It will. Now, I won't use Puka to do it. I won't use Neighbors to do it unless I'm getting Bijan. That's a different class, right? That's the next class up. But if all it takes is a Ladd type player, yes. Like A.J. Brown. If someone were to offer me Devon Chain for A.J. Brown and I don't have to start 3 wide receivers, I'm probably going to do that deal if anyone's listening.
One observation on this team, Ty, we've seen this a lot. I've seen this with teams that they have this obsession of just building the sexiest wide receiver group of 5 or 6 that they can get. And you know what? A lot of those teams, what are the odds? I mean, those top 5 receivers he has are great. Like people would love having that. What would it be? A quartet of receivers. And The problem is, what are the odds all 5 of them are at like peaking or ascending or all producing at the same time? It's very low. And oftentimes these teams get hamstrung in Dynasty because more often than not, you see a team like this that has like, this is the type of team that has a Keenan Allen on their bench. And they could have just never stomached putting that Jacoby Myers or Keenan Allen in over these 5. So it actually impedes you sometimes from scoring more points because you have this obsession with building like the sexiest receiver room that you can. So if that's the case, I don't know if it is or isn't, but yeah, I'm taking the deal the more Shane talks about it.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Like, yeah, I feel like I want to know. Yes, I think it's like if I start 3 wide receivers, and my team is constructed in a way that I'm going to fill out my flex with wide receivers as well. I don't want them all to be high end sexy. So I feel like I have to jam them in. I'm just going to keep jamming Olave in my lineup, keep jamming Ladd in my lineup, let alone, like you said, Keenan Allen's going off. And so if you can find these deals to actually liquidate some of that value, get that prize money, get the picks, I feel like that's a better way to hold that liquidation if you have those deals on the table, and then you can go and find some other things. But there's worse problems to have than a sexy wide receiver room.
I was going to say, I do want all the high end sexy, but I don't know that Ladd McConkey's that. I think Ladd McConkey slots into that like 12 to 20 role for a wide receiver, right? And there's a lot, and especially if he's towards that back end of that spectrum, there's a lot of wide receivers that I can slide in and get that similar production on a weekly basis.
Yeah, Shane, you didn't call that a bad person, so that's there's levels to your criticisms. He's not a bad person, probably a good person, lad.
Yeah.
Anthony West, love the show, boys. Sweatpants, we appreciate you. 12 team start 11 PPR. And it's a tight end premium of 0.5. We got Caleb, T-Law, and Dart. A lot of Dart. Love the Dart. Genty, Hampton, Hendo, and Harvey. Bill, Ibuka, JSN, Odunze, Hunter, Rashee Rice, Bowers, and McBride. Love it. 26 first, 227 first. Trade a 27 first for Jacobs. Man. Yeah. We love 27 first. They're all going to be, Jeremiah Smith. I get that. But I mean, on this team, yeah, you might, I don't know. Scott, tell me, is there too many options here in a 12 by 11? Or are you making this move and then figuring something else out with the rest of the roster?
I mean, again, I hate playing this such short term, but obviously I'm going to get Rice back at some point. You have to assume one of Henderson or Harvey is going to become startable very soon, hopefully. And I already have enough to go right now. You know what I mean? I have Genty, Hampton. I'm jamming them in every week. I have my 2 quarterbacks. Let's say you do this deal. You're putting Hendo, Harvey, and JCM on ice. And not that any of the 3 are super startable right now, but when that is my worst starter, like even with Hunter, Hendo, Harvey, and JCM all kind of like sitting there waiting for them to be startable, I still have enough to go around. I mean, I'm starting McBride and Bowers and Odunze and JSN and Ibuka and Hampton and Genty and 2 quarterbacks. So this kind of feels like if I really need another starter, can I just find a cheaper one right now instead of trading the first for Jacobs? It's a fair price. I'd almost rather work a deal. Can I sell you on RJ Harvey for Jacobs plus? You know what I mean? Keep the flexibility of a first and see if I can get him a different way. Can I throw me a receiver I can get back with Josh Jacobs for RJ Harvey, Shane? Can I do that? Can I get like a moderately startup? Can I get like Darnell Mooney and Josh Jacobs
for RJ
Harvey? Something like that?
I would hope you can. It depends on how short-sighted the
you definitely could for Hendo. If you chose to bet against Hendo, you might be able to get a first on top of Jacobs, and you get back a third, or you know what I mean? Maybe you do that. Like that.
Yeah, I will say that. I will say this: as someone that's got a lot of RJ Harvey, well, not as much as I did yesterday. No. Okay. I have tried to throw him in deals, not throw him in deals, but I've tried to use him in deals, and the appetite's not there for him.
Is he fetching like a first value, or would teams rather just have something else?
I've been trying to do things like I'll give you George Kittle and RJ Harvey for Tyler Warren in a league. Because Tyler Warren's playing and George Kittle isn't, and
RJ Harvey isn't.
Yeah, but it would have made sense for this team to do that. I'll say that, not to speak ill of their team. It would make sense for them. And the only part of that is that George Kittle probably doesn't help them in the long term either. But he doesn't have that whip appeal right now. Like, I got him out on the block and no one's even sniffing. And 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, if you would have put him on the block, everybody and their mom would have came and knocking at your door, but not right now.
He gets Cincy this week, Shane. If he gets a touchdown and has like 6 catches, are you then willing to sell him for a first value if you can get some of the stuff you want? Like, it feels like he needs to have that pop moment where people go, okay, maybe he's not going to be Alvin Kamara, but I can play him and it's not going to kill my lineup. That's what it feels he needs. Hendo's kind of already had that, but he kind of needs another one. But I think if they get those, you're able to get first in trade value. Maybe not getting the deal you want, but they'll count for more.
Yeah. Look, with him,
what I don't want to do.
No, I'm sorry, Scott. You're Ty, not Scott. But I was just going to say, like we were just talking about Travis Hunter, right? You have to have a little bit of stubbornness and going, you know what? No, I'm not selling these guys at that loss, right? I'm just not doing it, because if someone comes and offers me Javonte Williams and David Njoku, and I forget the other player that was in the offer for RJ Harvey, sure, the points, Wan'Dale Robinson, sure, the points look great. Next week I get 45 points, which is great, but I'm going to absolutely kick myself in the balls in week 12 when RJ Harvey's going off for 80 yards rushing and 45 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Like it's you have to, if you believe that that's what's going to happen, if you believed in him 3 weeks ago, you still have to believe in him now, knowing that this is how the NFL works. Generally, rookies don't come in to an immediate workload like Ashton Genty has. So that's all I was going to say.
Yeah. What I don't want to do is create lineup headaches on Sunday for me to figure out and stress over and probably be wrong. So if I was going to do that deal, I think I'd probably try to set up a subsequent deal with that. Can you sell Hampton for 2 firsts and then go and get Jacobs for a first? Or like Scott said, can you go and get someone cheaper and fill that? Or can you just roll with what you have because you already have a lot of stuff and just hold on to that first for later? So I like working from a place of strength, and you're doing that, Anthony.
Isn't that the kind of team, Ty, that because it's so good with all the other 9 starters, that's the kind of team I'm kind of like, you know what? I'll just start. I will eat that Travion Henderson in my lineup until I just can't stomach it anymore. You know what I mean? Like that is the type of player that when the pop game happens, it's going to be a 22-point game. And you're like, awesome. I actually had it in my lineup where 70% of people had benched him already because they were sick of him not producing. Like if that's my last flex and it's a player that in any given game could go for 20 plus based on the offense, based on their profile, like I'm okay putting that in rather than trading for, I mentioned like Darnell Mooney, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I could give up a second to plug my last flex spot to put him in there for this week. And lo and behold, I bet you one of those guys on my bench outproduces one of the players that I trade for. So I'm just plugging one of those guys in and living with it.
Yeah. So, what you don't want to do is make that trade for the first, and then and then the pop game happens, and then you're sitting there and you're just I wish I wouldn't have made that move. I wish I had put him on my lineup, just kept jamming him in. So, Anthony, good luck, man. Either way, that's a fun team. All right, Dorf doing fantasy. He says, "Happy Friday, y'all. It's been a minute." He's hitting 5-1 right now, and got offered this trade this morning. So, if I remember correctly, it's a 10 by 11 start 3 wide receiver, full PPR. 0.5 tight end premium. So we are Bucky Igbuka for JT Pittman and a late 26 first. He's sitting on 4 future firsts right now. None of them are his until 2028. Bucky and Igbuka for JT Pittman and the late 26 first. Shane, Pittman's been a nice story so far this year. He's been a big benefactor of the Colts offense being usable, being okay, not being putrid or not able to pass the ball. Jonathan Taylor crushing it right now. Probably one of the best assets in Dynasty football if you're trying to win right now. Late 26 first, but I'm looking at Bucky and Igbuka on the other side. How do you feel?
So he was offered getting Bucky and Igbuka for JT Pittman in a late 26 first is how I'm reading that, right?
So I'm trying to put that together. So he says, I don't think it's a great process deal, but I also propose sending Bucky, Ibuka, Debo in a 26 or 27 second for JT, Odunze in a 26 first. So he's sending the Bucky, Ibuka in this first deal here. Bucky, Ibuka for JT, Pittman in a first.
So JT and Bucky, I mean, JT's smashing a little more, but I think you can kind of cancel those two out. So is a late first and Pittman enough for you to move Ibuka, who is what, the wide receiver 7 right now on KTC? I don't think it is.
The elevator don't stop, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's so let me think this through. I say I make this deal, right? And I get JT. Can I move? What wide receiver can I then get for Pittman in a first? And will they be better than Ibuka?
I'm guessing just because Dorf's,
Right.
I think, asked questions about this team in the past. Maybe he hasn't, but I sense some similarities to some previous questions that he's had. It sounds like the league just kind of lets him collect these firsts.
Mm-hmm.
And he always is going to have this replenished basket of firsts that he can go and push to try to get deals like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that second deal a lot better. If you can pull that off where you're swapping Ibuka for Rome, Debo, and a second for a first, and then Bucky for JT, I mean, you win in every layer of that deal, pretty much. So doing that is like, wow, you let Dorf get the 2 better players plus the first on a team where he doesn't need Debo Samuel at all, and he just continues to stack first. Like, I'd rather do that. Otherwise, I'd almost rather try to do what you were saying is, I like the deal that you'd be getting. Now, we just don't necessarily view Bucky as better than Jonathan Taylor, or, you know what I mean? But like, if you were on the other side, we would say, oh yeah, go get the 2 better assets here, given that it's a 10 by 11. And I just don't value the first the same in a 10-teamer. You hit a great quarterback class in the leagues, like, we don't care about quarterbacks. So unless you really have confidence, you can flip those now 5 firsts into other stuff. I think as soon as you make this deal, you're going to be seeking, man, how do I get Ibuka? How do I get a Bucky type? You know, what you just traded away, you're going to want that back.
Yeah. Besides losing Burrow, feeling pretty good about my team. He's got 2 tough matchups in a row this week. Feels gross, sitting productive vets weekly. That's the thing, Dorf. You already got so many things, man. But I'm just going to stick with the rivers and the lakes that I'm used to. I'm going to stick with Bucky and Ibuka there. It's just not a move I have to do. I agree, man. I think on this team, this is like the team we've talked about, right? Burrow, Baker, Dak, Genty, Achane, Bucky, Kamara, Tootin, JCM, Chase, Nico, Adams, Buka, Godwin, Terry, Debo, McBride, Kelsey, Henry. You have more than enough stuff. I do want to find ways to get into first, but I don't think I want to use Bucky and Ibuka to do that if I can help it.
Right.
Scott, any 30 seconds here? Any other deals you see?
No, I mean, because you have so many extra, guys like Hunter Henry are just screaming for any attention on a team like this. So I'm doing that deal, and Ty, you gave that question the TLC that it needed. Well done.
Excellent. Okay. Excellent.
Of both.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. Oh, Shane, I'm sorry, buddy. We'll hit with the sounder. Okay. Little over 15 minutes left, so we'll speed it up a bit here. We got Dylan Ebensteiner, E for everyone. Evan Ebensteiner, 12 team, 0.5 PPR. It's a 1.0 for tight ends, and it's a start 11, Shane. Lamar, Purdy, backups, Gibbs, Kyron, Judkins, Hendo, Pollard. We got Neighbors, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, DJ Moore, Trey Harris, Bowers, and Likely. Only have a 26 second in all of his futures. We traded away DJ Moore and Pollard for QJ, Quentin Johnston, and a 2026 second. Cheers, guys, as always. Moore and Pollard, or QJ and a second. 12 team start 11, Shane.
So did Dylan DM me, or is Dylan in our DD chat? Because I've absolutely seen this offer, and I said I will take the QJ and the second side. QJ over DJ Moore. I don't know what world I'm living in anymore. And the second for Pollard is that's straight up even. That's straight up even. Like, if I could do this, and then Scott was talking about earlier buying a Javonte Williams. Can I buy a Javonte Williams for, I don't know, 14 thirds? No one's going to do that. But you know what I mean? Like I can go find another running back for that.
Shane,
second.
if you have 14 thirds in a 12-teamer, more power to you, sir.
Well, they don't have to all be from the same year. Anyway, but yeah, if I could do this, because QJ's an upgrade over DJ Moore, and then if I could go out and get another Tony Pollard for a second, it's still a net positive.
Yeah. You're upgrading you're upgrading your points right now from QJ to DJ Moore. In my opinion, you are trading from excess, getting a second for Pollard. Dylan, that's just a nice deal. Yeah, go ahead and have that one.
I don't even think it's just points.
Roy G, 12. Oh, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think
not even just points.
The world is slowly coming around on QJ. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of feels like there's like this. He's the Rudy story of fantasy football. Like people hated him, but man, a couple more good games, and it's like, man, I really like this guy. So
Scott, no one ever hated QJ. Everybody loved him this entire time. I was literally the only person that didn't like QJ. It was me, literally me. I saw trades on Dynasty Daddy, him going for thirds, but those all must have been me. I didn't realize I had so much QJ, but yeah, here we are. Anyway.
Everyone loves those TCU wide receivers when they come out. So, you know, you gotta hold on to them. Just never mind. 12 teams, start 11, super flex lineup, tiered PPR at a 0.25 point per carry from Roy here. The team after the trade is Burrow, Fields, Rodgers, Hampton, Warren, Bijan, Judkins, Woody, and Tootin. DK, Chase, AJ Brown, Brian Thomas Jr. We got Kincaid, Freiermuth, and Arroyo. All 26 and an extra 27 first. Trade away Purdy, Dobbins, and Keenan Allen for Burrow, Woody, and a late 26 third. I'm not likely to contend, so I wanted to tier up to Burrow from a 3-0 team that was hurting at quarterback. Still feels like he has enough solid starters if things fall well, and I'm contending in 4 or 5 weeks, then I can still use the Burrow bullet to get back involved. So 12 by 11, Scott. Trading away Purdy, Javonte, Dobbins, and Keenan Allen for Burrow, Woody, and a 26th third. To the team that needs a quarterback, so you're giving that team Purdy, giving up the Javonte, Dobbins, and Keenan Allen. So I guess I think the heart of the question here is, on these teams that you're not trying to win right now, what is the price to get rid of some of these guys who have surprisingly been, you know, very nice in our lineup so far, and then get on the speculative bets on the Woody in the third?
I don't hate the deal. You're getting Woody back, which we may not value him like Javonte or Dobbins today, but in 2 quarters, we'd take Woody over both of those guys. So I'm looking at almost one of the running backs cancel each other out. I don't hate the deal if you lost Burrow and someone's going to hand you Javonte, Dobbins, and Keenan Allen, and you're going to jam them all in your lineup, and you're probably going to get 25 to 35 points per game until all of them eventually go away, which could happen in week 4, or it could be the rest of the season. And we could look up and go, Shane, are you shocked Javonte Williams was RB 11 and J.K. Dobbins was RB 19 and Keenan Allen was wide receiver 18? Then you're like, oh my God, those 3 players lasted the entire year. Meanwhile, everybody we thought was good is either injured or underperforming. Like that could happen, and it looks like a great deal. I wouldn't hate it if somebody said I'm trading Burrow and I'm getting Purdy plus. This is enough points where I would do it on the other side. But if you have a bunch of players like in that, I'm benching Dobbins so I can go start somebody else that's similar. If you just have extra stuff, kind of like Dorf's team a couple questions ago, like this is a good up tier. But I could see the other side. If I'm desperate for Burrow and I need a couple pieces, like this is probably the best type of deal you're getting. You're getting a top 15 quarterback back that's young, that's in a good situation, and you're getting 3 producers that you accept will all be gone at some point.
I see that from both sides, right? I think it's a good use of the Burrow bullet on a team that's 3-0 and needs that quarterback help and some starters they can jam in. And on Roy's side, what are those guys truly to your lineup? And is there a better deal? Maybe. But like you said, you already have a plan there. If the Burrow comes back, if you're competing, you can always flip that bullet again. So, yeah, I love trading with a plan, Roy. It's good stuff. Mick Sheamus. 14 team, start 10, PPR. It's a 0.5 tight end premium and a 4-1 quarterback scoring. We got Herbert, Bo Nix. We got Jonathan Taylor, Hendo, Swift, Charbonnet. We got Chase, Neighbors, Sutton, Jacoby, Quentin Johnston, Hunter Henry, and Gesicki. McShamus started 2-1, but felt the team was underperforming, trying to keep up with the two stronger contenders as per Dynasty Daddy. Shouts out to Jeremy. Shouts out to Dynasty Daddy. Just traded Ladd for JT, then traded Burden for Marks and Marks for QJ. So Shane, Ladd for JT. Feel like we've kind of we've tilled this ground already. It feels like, right? You're taking JT there. Cool. And then we traded Burden and Marks for QJ. Yes,
man, I'm a big Woodrow fan, but yeah, I'm fine with this. Like, this is what I like about Burden. I mean, it's apropos of nothing other than this offer, this deal, but yeah, I just traded Burden. Burden has value in trades again after the 1 week. It's a beautiful thing. This is partly why when we talk about rookie picks, this is why they're always useful, because we're not always useful, but they have this other value of, okay, even if that player doesn't hit immediately, they might have a week like they just had, and they're still an asset that you can move. And you're 4 weeks into the season and you go, Burden looked fine, but I need these other starters and I can make a deal like this. And I like how QJ looks, so I'm going to move Burden. So all that say, I do like these deals, but I like them both. The Ladd for JT is, yeah. Absolutely. That's a smash.
Absolutely. I got today by the not putting a exploder on the trade. I sent out a Burden deal. It got accepted today where I get Rashad White and Keenan Allen for Burden, basically, in a 1 quarterback 12/9. So good luck, Ty, on that one. But
yeah, thank you. That reminds me. I got to start putting time limits on these.
Yeah. Good PSA from the Dynasty Deal Show. All right, Scott. Alex Milan brings a 12-team start 11 Superflex PPR 175 tight end premium and a 0.2 point per carry. Sent away Neighbors, James Cook, Gino, and a 26 third for T-Mac, Burrow, a 26 first and second. The team now sits Burrow, Dart, and Ward, bunch of rook running backs, Odunze, T-Mac, Pickens, Olave, Shaheed, and Bowers. 326 first, 426 seconds, some later picks, got a 4-2 record, never had the horses to compete. Can take it to 101, but most likely have the 102 or 103 to build off of. I mean, looking at this core, like that is something I would love to have this team going into 2026. You have flexibility already, some studs built in. Got to send away Neighbors, Cook, Gino, and a third for T-Mac, Burrow, a 26 first and second. That's probably the price when you got guys like Neighbors and Cook involved in a deal. But I mean, T-Mac, Burrow, 26 first and second, that feels like a nice little handoff there, Scott.
Yeah, I think given where his team was, like looking at it before, you had basically Dart and Ward, which are not going to get you there the rest of the way. And then you had good skill players, but probably not the depth in a 12/11. With the point per carry, you definitely didn't have the running back depth to get you there. So I agree with the deal. I mean, basically, you got Burrow a first and a second for James Cook, Gino, and a third. And yes, you ate the Neighbors to T-Mac difference. But if T-Mac's good, you're looking at that like, okay, he's where we're talking about, like his floor is where we're talking about Ladd McConkey. You know what I mean? So yes, you took the hit at receiver, but you got a hell of a haul. I mean, you know what I love most, Ty? Everything he got is highly valuable, flexible, or insulated, or all of the three. So you're going to look at your team in the offseason and go, this is the deal that set me up for next year with a ton of flexibility. Because now you have a quarterback to move. If Dart's good, you can decide you want to move Dart or Ward. You can move Burrow. Like, you can move your picks. So I love where this team's going. I'd try to move maybe Olave or Pickens. If Pickens has one game or two here without Lamb, like I'd be looking at both of those as, can I make a similar, is there another injured receiver or young receiver that's not producing? Can I get one of those guys in a first? Like, I'd continue to try to do it. Because Odunze and T-Mac next year, you're looking at a good start with those two plus the picks. So great deal. Good job, Alec.
Absolutely. What could you get on top of like a Travis Hunter in a deal for Pickens there, Scott?
I mean, I think definitely for Olave, you could get Travis Hunter. Pickens, it might take a game, but I mean, if you have Pickens, you have a golden opportunity where he's not going to have Lamb for a month. So if George Pickens still is giving you 4 for 50 with no CD Lamb, then you were just wrong on George Pickens. You know what I mean? He is what he is. But I suspect he'll probably get a bump to some degree. And, he might have a 7 for 100 and a touchdown type game. And I think right there, you can start selling him at that price where somebody wants some active producer.
Yeah. Cool. Good luck, Alec. Appreciate you. Dynasty Mark, 12 teams, super flex, start 10, and a tight end premium. So the team here, ignore the second part. we gotta edit from Mark after this. But Mahomes, Ward, and Gino, RJ Harvey, Bill, and backups, Odunze, AJ Brown, Myers, Waddle. We got Kittle, Goddard, and Njoku. So Shane, he is sending Ward, Odunze, Goddard, and a late first for Lamar and Tyler Warren. I know you've been knocking on some doors to get some Tyler Warren. We all love ourselves some Lamar. This team has 326 first, 326 seconds, 227 first, 227 seconds in the back pocket, Shane. Ward, Odunze, Goddard, and the late first.
What was the premium?
Just says tight end premium. I'm assuming 1.
I mean, you should say yes, right? I guess I got it. Doesn't matter to me. So I mean, whatever. He's a nice little throw in. So it's really Ward, Odunze, and a first for Lamar. Yeah, I'll do it. As soon as I got I'll do it. I like it. Like Odunze.
Start punching the numbers into the calculator.
I like Ward, but and Odunze has been smashing. But in a tight end premium, Tyler Warren might be the tight end too before this year's out. And Lamar, like we're talking about a chain, like dudes that can give you 40-point weeks. You know how many times I've been on the receiving end of I've got this locked up and then Lamar drops 44 points on me or something and I lose. So I would definitely do this deal.
Yeah, even in a 0.5 tight end premium, I'm doing that. Maybe even a 0.25 tight end premium, I'm doing that. That's the price for Lamar, and you get a Tyler Warren thrown in on the arm. That's really nice, Dynasty Mark. So yes, if you haven't gotten that done yet, smash that deal. Good work. Scott, good buy price for Rice. It was 12 by 9, 1 quarterback, 0.5 PPR. Send Waddle, Pitts in 2 seconds for Rice and a first. Yes,
Oh,
this is a good price for Rice.
Yeah, I mean, with this tight end premium, you included Pitts in the deal and you included 2 seconds. I mean, you would trade Pitts in 2 seconds for a first just for the nature of it's a first in a start 9, 1 QB, right? And then you got Rice for Jalen Waddle. So I think that's how you get Jalen Waddle. You go down the line and you see, that's how I get Rashee Rice. Can I go down the line and find a moderately productive receiver, one that's not injured, one that somebody can start over the next 3 weeks and just gamble that they still view Rice? I've tried to buy Rice actually. And I think people are starting to now realize like I've gotten by half the time he's been out. He's more valuable now than he was 2 weeks ago. It's like the Chiefs have so little. I think people are now pumping. Rice's value is going up by the week. So I think you get it. If you can't get him now, then you're probably not going to be able to get him in 2 or 3 weeks either. So I would take this now if it's on the board.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if I'm skating to where the puck's going to be on Rice, Waddle in 2 seconds and Pitts, I don't like that maybe gets you Rice. I think the 27 first on top is that's a lot of gravy for you there, MJ Hammer. So keep on hammering those good deals. Good work. Just sold Caleb and Brashard Smith for Monty and an early 26 third, Shane, from Jay. I don't really have much more context on this one, I don't think, but let's call it a 12 by 10. Caleb and Brashard Smith for Monty and a third.
I think he's just bragging. He was able to move Caleb. Man, I don't. Congrats, bro.
No, he moved him for anything.
Look, you got him for a usable piece. I get it, man. Like we were talking about, I don't know. We've talked about him ad nauseum. Like it's hard to move him for anything of value. It just is. So he's like anchored to my rosters, and I forgot he's on most of them until I go to set the lineups, and I go, yeah, this guy's still here. So yeah, no, good for you, bro.
Yeah, good for you, bro. Indeed. Scott, last one. Dylan Vergara. 12 teams, Superflex, PPR, start 11. We got a rebuilding team with Genty, Hampton on the taxi squad. How much is enough value for them? I'm finding it hard because I'm only being offered playoff team picks. And I guess that makes sense, right? It's probably the teams that are scoring points right now that are going to want the running backs who are going to score points or who are, sexy and they can project things forward. Genty, Hampton, where are those guys at for you at like a buy now price, Scott, in a 12 by 11 PPR?
It's a tough question. I'm glad we ended with this because this can kind of tease into like the kind of conversations we have in our community. But like, you're a rebuilding team that has these guys on your taxi. So it wasn't like I lucked into a rebuild. It was I planned to rebuild and I planned to draft 2 running backs at the 101 and the 102. And this was exactly what the plan was. So why are you straying now 3 weeks from the start of the season? Because you're getting some offers. So I would trade them, but the trade value has to be enough for me to push my team build forward, further forward than what the plan was when I drafted these guys at 101 and 102. I assume we tried to move the picks and couldn't. And now I assume we're trying to tank for one reason or the other. And whether it's not potential points on sleeper, but it could be record and you just don't want these guys in your lineup. So you're putting them on the taxi. But nothing's changed, right? Yes, they're not absolutely blowing things out of the water. But trading them for 80 cents on the dollar because you're a little panicked almost feels like you're cashing in your own bet when the odds haven't gone down, but you're taking half of what you bet because you're just scared. You think life's always going to deal you bad hands, and so you just want to fold and take what you can. So I think you got to ride it out. The price is what it was on draft day. And someone may say there's no way I'm paying that. Well, you know what? They're going to be on your taxi the rest of the year. So I would need, I don't know, I would need one of those receivers above the Ladd McConkey line and probably a first to move somebody like Hampton. You're probably not getting that. So I'm just, this is my plan, right? These are my 2 guys for the next 3 years. And so hopefully I can contend next year, try to, but yeah, I'm not moving anything away from the plan that I started with when I put these guys on the freaking taxi to begin with.
Yeah. It's going to plan. Let's not get off track here. It's stay on the plan and you're going well. Shane, let me ask you really quick. If you had a playoff team come to you and offer you their 26, 27, and 28 first, I know 28 possibly not a real year. If you can clean someone out of all of their first, is that a deal you're making for one of these running backs?
So 3 firsts for each of them.
And they're basically handing you like their life. You know what I mean?
So I'm rebuilding apparently. Yeah. Look, if you're rebuilding, you probably should be trying to split some assets, right? So can I get 3 firsts for a player? I'm probably going to take it in this situation. But that's not because I think Genty or Hampton aren't going to turn things around because, well, Genty's got the worst run blocking in the league. I think, if I read correctly, he's the worst yards before contact in the league. So that's fun. And Hampton, we literally just saw what he could do. So, I mean, it's nothing against them, but yeah, if someone's going to offer me 3 firsts for a player, it's a pretty good chance that I'm going to take it when I'm rebuilding. Now, if you're really cleaning them out, I want to.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Give me some.
Give me the seconds. Give me the third. Give me the fab 2. Right. Yeah.
And who? Real quick, I was just gonna say, who's leading the league in broken tackles? Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty is not the problem. That line is so bad that the dude should be smashing, and he's not. So if that line gets a little bit better, Ashton Genty is going to be destroying things. So in general, I'm not moving him.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, man. Yeah. If Ashton Genty just keeps breaking tackles, that's cool. He keeps getting hit, 11 out of 19 carries behind the line of scrimmage or at there. Yeah, it's going to take a little time for that to look right, but I'm not blaming Genty on that. Yeah, man, go have fun. Go try to clean them out there, Dylan, and yeah, have some fun. And this has been the Dynasty Deal Show. Big shout out to Adam Walker, Ahoff, John Diamato, Anthony West, Dorf, Dylan Ebensteiner, Roy G, Mick Seamus, Alec Malone, Dynasty Mark, MJ Hammer, Daniel T, Dylan Viraga, and all of you for hanging out with us. We'll be here next week. Well, I won't be here next week, but these two probably will be. We'll be in the Discord till then. See ya. Bye.